Welcome to the first episode of From the Trenches, a podcast by the Business Examiner News Group. Today we've got a very special guest to start things off from Colliers International, one of the island's commercial and industrial real estate leaders, who's going to talk to us about what's going on north of the Malahat, what his team is seeing in terms of trends, some places to look for potential investments, and how to position or at a minimum be aware of how to take advantage of opportunity in real estate as landowners, as business owners. And so, we really hope you enjoy this first podcast with us. Many more to come. And please do let us know of any feedback that you have or potential interview requests. Thank you, and we really hope you enjoy this episode. For the promo for this, your headshot and that kind of stuff will be in there. But just for the listeners, could you let us know who you are and a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Brad Bailey. I'm a vice president with Colliers International, global real estate firm in 68 countries. We offer full service commercial services to our clients, and that includes everything from brokerage services, property management, investment management, valuation, and advisory roles. So full service. I work personally here in the Nanaimo office, and I work in brokerage. So I do all market segments, whether that be office, retail, industrial, land sales, hospitality, multifamily buildings. Mm-hmm. And depending who the client is, of course, I'm either representing a landlord, a tenant, a buyer, or a seller.
Awesome. And that approach to handling such a wide variety of different real estate types, is that more as a result of working in a smaller market like Vancouver Island? Like, would you see that same type of approach in like a Vancouver or Toronto, or are you kind of blessed with being able to touch everything because you're in a smaller area?
We're blessed with being jacks of all trades here.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right. In the larger municipalities, they specialize a little bit more just because of the large demographics. Mm-hmm. Here we have smaller transactions, smaller municipalities, so we tend to specialize across the board in most market segments.
Awesome. I'd imagine that makes things a little bit more fun at times. There's a little bit more of a dynamic aspect to the job.
A little more variety, but it can stretch you a little bit as well. Right?
That's awesome. Appreciate you sharing that. One of the things that we wanted to cover here too was kind of the Vancouver Island commercial industrial real estate market north of the Malahat. And just wondering if you could speak to kind of market trends, things that you're seeing, anything from deal volume, price fluctuation, inventory scarcity, etc. Do you have some thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the Mid-Island, obviously the major market here is in Nanaimo, and that's simply because of our transportation links, not only to the Lower Mainland, but the Island Highway, good access north and south. I would say that's followed by the Cowichan Valley, which is, due to its proximity to Victoria, is really starting to take off, especially residentially.
Yeah.
There's big commercial development going on there. They just announced the Cowichan District Hospital.
Yeah.
$600 million project. That's really going to drive some of the economy there. Interestingly, in the neighborhood, it's surrounded by larger acreage parcels, residential in the main. The future land use suggests commercial. So I think we're going to see some commercial development in that node around the hospital.
Yeah.
And that could take the form of multifamily buildings, office buildings, and other uses to support the hospital. So those are the two markets. Courtenay Comox and Comox Valley is also a pretty active market right now. Mm-hmm. But overarching, in summary, the things driving us right now are significant population immigration, which is driving demand, mm-hmm. which is then having the effect of diminishing our inventory. So we're very scarce in inventory in certainly the hottest markets, that being multifamily land, industrial is extremely busy and active market. And of course, the end result of all that is that prices are rising, as well as rates, particularly in industrial. Lease rates were static for a number of years. They're rapidly increasing because our vacancy rates are extremely low in the major municipalities for industrial. And you'll see capitalization rates for investment products such as apartment buildings, compressing as well.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's great to hear. It's funny you mentioned the Cowichan Valley. We have noticed, I would say the last 2 or 3 years, me personally, there's a lot of commercial and residential activity, and it's been a bit of a surprise because, you think about the island and Nanaimo, Victoria are kind of like the big hubs, but the Cowichan Valley, in terms of the level of activity, it's been really surprising. And it's kind of a smaller community, outside looking in, but it's like a lot of heavy hitters there that we just, it seems every week there's kind of a new developer putting up a whole bunch of homes, and we're just it's nice to see, but I wouldn't have thought it, kind of growing up in Nanaimo all those years.
Years ago, it was a well-kept secret, and secret's been out for several years now, but certainly now in our markets, whether you're a developer, an investor, compared to major municipalities like Vancouver and the Lower Mainland, it's an attractive market. Demographics and the values. Yeah,
no, it is. We just did a story. Cowichan Nest is a multifamily, or I guess apartment building that's going up there. I think there's, and it's close to that hospital area, so it is nice to see that. And so, I don't know if you answered kind of this question already, but the best 2 to 3 places to invest north of the Malahat, would that kind of dovetail off of where you're seeing the activity to look for opportunities there?
That's right. I'd say the most active markets are certainly Nanaimo, followed by the Cowichan Valley and the Comox Valley, which is not to say some of the other municipalities aren't equally as vibrant, but those are the big 3 areas in the Mid-Island region. Certainly.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, well, it's made me. It kind of leads into the meat of the thing I wanted to cover with you here is kind of what opportunity looks like for landowners. And one of the example that came to mind is I believe it's Ladysmith is going through an OCP review, and so they're bringing community members and that kind of stuff. And you've seen Island West Coast partner with Coast Salish and that kind of that Oyster Bay. As you drive up there, Westmark is building a big apartment block up there. And so just, it's kind of led, myself and different in the conversations that we have with other landowners and stuff, what does opportunity look like? And how do you kind of put yourself in a position to best take advantage of it, specifically in real estate?
Yeah, so that'll depend on where you live and what your neighborhood looks like. And of course, things like existing zoning and the official community plan, future land uses. And you're right. So certainly where the demand is, the real estate will increase in value. So recently in Nanaimo, for example, we had an owner contact us who owned a multi-acre residential property. But under the OCP, that property was designated as industrial. So the opportunity for that particular owner was to sell the property with the understanding that the rezoning would be a formality, and of course worth much more money as an industrial property rather than a residential property. So for owners, it's watching what's going on in your neighborhood and your zoning, but certainly land uses and where the market trends are going, whether they're residential or whether they're industrial or any other commercial sort of use.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's really helpful. I think, one of the things that we're seeing as we talk with businesses is there's a lot of, despite all the negativity that you see, there's a lot of people who have money and businesses that have actually fared really, really well, especially in the B2B sphere. Now, it doesn't diminish what's happened in tourism and these other things, but I know that there's people, we get emails every once in a while, if you've got money, where do you put it? And so that's kind of what drove the question. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, and that is the case. Again, the lack of inventory is the only thing holding us back from even more record deal volumes and price benchmarks. In Nanaimo, 5 years ago, it was unheard of to sell industrial land for $1 million an acre, but that's the new benchmark for core areas. Multifamily, as I mentioned, their values keep increasing. Top tier product for rental apartment buildings as an investment vehicle are now in the 3.75 capitalization rate range, which again was unheard of several years years ago, right? So all of these products are extremely desirable. We're only limited by our availability to provide to clientele.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so, yeah, I mean, that wraps up kind of the professional type questions that I have for you. Just to as we kind of get towards the end, the two quick ones. The best personal advice you've been given, something that's impacted you throughout your life, could be professional, from a boss or a mentor, or just something that you had growing up that stuck with you.
Be yourself. When I got into this business, I was told by an experienced broker that don't try to adopt a salesman attitude. It's about relationships. So be yourself, play to your strengths. I think the important thing for me has been trust. You obviously want confidence, but certainly trust and interpersonal relationships at the end of it. It's a lot of numbers and statistics in real estate, but I think it's very important to have your interpersonal relationships and build trust with your clients.
Okay, awesome.
That's the way I generally live my life.
Words to live by. Awesome. And the last three quick things: favorite places to eat, stay, and play on the island.
Well, that's a tough one. I think we all share similar views, whether it's our natural amenities. Tofino's obviously a great destination. I like Port Renfrew, parts of Qualicum. I mean, there's a multitude of areas on the island that are fantastic for that. Mm-hmm. If I need some more cosmopolitan surroundings, Victoria is always great, of course. Mm-hmm. It's the whole island is really terrific in that respect. You can find just about anything you want here.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Any preferred fine dining places?
Well, lately I haven't been fine dining very much.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, exactly. I have some restaurants I enjoy in Nanaimo. I don't know if they're all fine dining experiences, but Melange, downtown Nanaimo, terrific restaurant. Sources local food from farmers, great stuff. I have a particular attachment to the Milton Street Public House, which is a character pub restaurant, but with exceptional food outside of your typical pub fare. Great stuff.
Awesome.
If you like Greek food, Asteris is a landmark here in downtown Nanaimo as well. There's lots of it throughout the island, but those are some of my favorites.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. So yeah, Brad, that's all I've got for you today. Like I said, I really appreciate your time. And we'll kind of gently be rolling this out over the next 2 or so weeks. Thanks for stopping by this episode of From the Trenches, the Business Examiner podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening to Brad talk commercial real estate in Central North Vancouver Island. We're excited about a couple of the future interviews that we are in the process of booking. Look to this podcast to become a hopefully weekly mainstay with us as we continue to build out new content platforms here in 2021. So we wish you guys a great Christmas and Happy New Year, depending on when you listen to this. And yeah, just wishing you nothing but success in 2021. Cheers.